Last one I got left, from the sidewalk to the stars.
Hey guys, we're going to go over some toe to bar stuff. Just the opens around the corner, something to consider, and a few tips that I like to think about when I do toe to bars. And we'll cover a few, maybe beginning pointers, help you start to understand the toe to bar. And once we understand, maybe some tips to help us progress and advance ourselves on the toe to bar so we can start getting really comfortable with this movement, especially considering the open right around the corner. So first off, I like telling people that the toe to bar, as much as you see everyone swinging and using their legs, I like to think of it starting from the shoulders. So a few things, and you could do this in your warm-up. Just kind of get your reverse shrug that we do. Always think about getting those shoulders activated and not disengaged at the bottom, because when we're loosey-goosey, we just can't properly apply that force to help with that kipping movement and that front and back horizontal kick. So just jump on the bar, maybe do a few just reverse shrugs just to kind of distinguish the difference between disengaged and engaged. And through the toe to bar, we want to stay engaged. So this is a no right now, and we want to kind of stay here through the movement so you can be stronger in that kick. So once you're kind of engaged, just feel that position, and then start swinging it here. And just like building a fire, guys, we want to let it build slowly, back and forth. Don't rush this one. If we kind of jump towards it, this way we feel ourselves penduluming. Just stop yourself. Make sure we're in that dead hang, and then start it right here. It's really hard to, if you're going to kind of recorrect it, so don't even fight it at that point. So start yourselves under the bar. We're going to jump, get your grip, get your shoulders. Now we're ready to start our toe to bar. And then again, just slowly let it build. Shoulders come back and we fall through. And that's kind of the beginning part of that kip. Once you have that part of the kip down, then we're ready to make it bigger and let it grow and have that momentum with getting some power so we can have some height to that toe to bar. And then we can start using the bottom of the legs to start putting some energy to kind of drive that toe to bar, the movement. It starts with here, but the driver is kind of the hip and the lower body just because of the weight that we carry with our hips. All right, so now we're ready to start building that kip of the toe to bar. So now that we understand it's the shoulder, and now we got to start thinking about momentum and applying momentum with that relationship with what your shoulders are doing. So we'll jump up here. We got our kip going back and forth, and we're going to start shooting our shoulders forward. And whatever the shoulders do, our legs are going to do the exact same but in reverse. So our shoulders go back, our feet come forward, and we fall and try to have some speed falling. So we're going to pull our feet down behind us pretty forcefully, pretty quickly to kind of get that momentum coming back so we can have some torque on the way up. And the big thing I want you guys to think about as well is don't worry about the height right away. If we're new to toe to bar, let's get a balanced rhythm going so we can understand and really get a good foundation with the toe to bar and understand that kip. And then from there, let it grow. Don't at this point when we're trying to do the kip, we can do strict toe to bars to develop strength, but when we're learning the kip, just make sure that we have a balanced kip. The height will come little by little. So we're going to start here, let it build little by little. I'm thinking about that downward force, pulling my shoulders forward as I'm pulling my legs before me. And little by little, this will get bigger. Our feet will get higher, higher, until we're ready to send our feet to the bar. But don't let yourself get out of balance just for the sake of getting height on that toe to bar. Let's understand that toe to bar and that swing before we actually start throwing ourselves all over the place. We have the kip, and we've been practicing our kip, and we can swing and go into our kip with control. Now that we have some momentum to kind of power your kip through, and we're able to do a toe to bar, now we're going to start stringing the toe to bars together. And once we string our toe to bars together, we're kicking, our feet go to the bar, and we need just as much control on the way down as we do as our feet go to the bar. So we're going to have our toe to bar. Let's say we have our first toe to bar. I think about a lot of downward force to drive my kip and start repping these things out. So again, the shoulders kind of guiding myself, but the driver is, I'm having enough control, is enough tension through that downward movement as I am on the way up. And so to keep in mind through the toe to bars is, I like to think about is your head placement. You don't want to kind of cock it back. You can't really breathe there, but don't bring your chin to your chest too much. It should kind of follow that neutral spine position. You can breathe a little better there, but I think you're a little bit more organized when you keep your head just following your spine right here. So we're going to go our toe to bar, let it build. See, I was a little off right there. I'm going to let myself just set, and I'm going to go again. I'm going to let it build, and I'm going to go. So just keep that head going straight through that toe to bar. And typically we'll have a little bit more balanced kip through your toe to bars. A big one too is don't think about closing the shoulder. That kind of happens naturally. Think about more of loading your hip as those feet come down, and as you're coming down off the toe to bar, load those hips with bringing those legs back behind you, so again you have torque and power to kick back up. The shoulder closing just happens naturally, so just remember about that little piece right there. There's two kips, or there's two toe to bars that we normally see. There's one where people keep their knees straight, and then there's one where we see a kick at the end, and both of them are fine. It really just depends on what kind of person you are and what your preference and what you've learned and what you've practiced. So either one's fine, but just kind of play around with the two and see which one works best for you. So the first one, keeping your legs straight, that really has a lot to do with loading those hips and exploding up, because we don't have that kick at the very end to kind of get our toes to the bar. So that one has more of that typical gymnastic feel, might require a little bit more flexibility, but again, that's for some athletes. If we don't like that one, we can always do that kick at the very end of that kip, getting our feet all the way to the bar. And that one works usually pretty well if we're kind of learning the toe to bar. So we're going to be here, and also when we're a little bit more tired. So we're here, and then there's that kick. We're here, and then that kick. Still want that downward force when we come back down out of the toe to bar. So 3 of those progressions, wherever you guys are in your toe to bar, just practice. Get on the bar and just play around with it. You make an error, just kind of fix it. But always just keep in mind that practice doesn't just make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. So have a goal in mind. 10 to 15 reps, 2 or 3 sets works pretty well. Even if it's not on the board, put it in your warm-ups. Just a lot of practice all the time with here. But I hope this toe to bar tutorial helped. If you have any questions, come to us, and we'll see you next time.